Ready to go, Jim? Hello, welcome to ReneMarie Stroke of Luck. I'm ReneMarie, and of course, this is going to be a show. And I always give much gratitude to Judy, who is on the board and the editor and everything for this show. She does an exceptional job and with booking people, and we're so grateful to her. And I always want to make sure that I give her the gratitude. Of course, I want to thank Jim in Long Island for. Yay, Jim, are you on this? No, I'm on the screen. So anyway, so I want to give Jim in the back office, the back studio in Long Island, the much credit as well, because without him, this show couldn't go on. But today is really, um, a wonderful day, a wonderful show. It's about breaking bread together and the importance of eating together, and people need food for energy, and they need food to just fill their bodies with good healthy um, nutrition. And when you get ill, or you have just something that sets you back, or you're elderly, or your family goes away on vacation and they can't care for you, what do you do then? It gets a little challenging to deal with that type of situation. Food is really important aspect in life. It really is. If you think about it, what would you do if you didn't have any food, or what would you do? I mean, we can't survive without it. So our special guest today, Michele, I'm going to let Judy say her last name because I'm not very good at saying last names and I don't want to mess it up, is really a gift to the world. And I can't wait to hear how she evolved into doing what she's doing. Um, and on the other aspect of it, Michele is a part of the team for our first annual Tricky Tray. And I can't tell you the gratitude that Judy and my foundation and Jim as well have to Diane for leading the way in this Tricky Tray. We have already purchased, we have 170 tickets. We have 60 on hold, 60 or 70 tables that reserved for people that are like their organizations that they're going to buy. So we have like 240, 250 tickets sold out of that 300 that we have maxed out. So we're on an extraordinary way with this Tricky Tray. And in a few minutes, I'm going to have Jim bring up Diane's photo and bring up the Tricky Tray photo. And actually, we're going to show photos of Michele's her food that she serves. But I really can't thank Diane enough for the work. Diane, I'm going to read it because I always screw that up, is the president of Senior Resource Group of New Jersey, which our organization is a part of, and Michele is a part of as well. And that's how we connected. And Michele has been an extraordinary help in this Tricky Tray. We're going to do a whole show on the sponsors and how we pulled it together, and just the back end work. You have no idea how difficult. I believe that you guys they have about 150 gifts so far. Like, that's incredible to run and pick up and do this. And Diane is extraordinary. I keep using that word today because that's the word that comes to me at really making people understand the importance of our organization. We deal with strokes and aphasia, and anyone can suffer from a stroke at any specific time. It doesn't matter your age. And I was 26 when I suffered my massive stroke, and I am so blessed to be here at this moment to be able to talk to you, because some people, after they suffer stroke, they can't speak because of aphasia. And I hope you followed some of our shows and learning about strokes and aphasia. But we're going to get into that in a little bit. I'm going to let Judy read the press that she wrote, because Judy always writes the press, and then we're going to flow into the tricky tray, and then we'll have Michele start to share how she got into this, and really hear about what she did prior to getting into doing food and delivering food to people that really need it. So Judy, go ahead. Jim, can you open up the screens for everybody? Thank you. Judy, you're on mute. Judy, you're on mute.
Welcome, Michele, to our show. Michele is the owner and operator of Chefs on the Go, New Jersey, for the past several years. Chefs on the Go, New Jersey is a personalized meal programs for all serving Passaic, Bergen, Essex, Morris counties in northern New Jersey. Michele has been preparing meals for families, as well as being a member of the Senior Resource Group. During the pandemic, Michele formed Feed It Forward, bringing food to many families who were not able to feed themselves. Michele is NCCDP certified as an Alzheimer's and Dementia practitioner and has the compassion to work with families through this difficult process. During this show, we will discuss and we will learn about this exciting new and affordable alternative to meal delivery services with their personal chef service, who will help create menus that are 100% customized to fit dietary needs. Chefs on the Go delivers the chef to your kitchen. All chefs are ServSafe certified, undergo thorough background checks, and are fully insured.
Woo! Thank you, Michele. Michele, you can unmute yourself. I just have everybody muting themselves because the intro, when we're playing that, if anything happens in the background, you can hear it. But Michele, welcome. We're so
Thank you.
Happy that you're joining us today. It's really, I'm honored to have met you through Diane, because you're so passionate about things when you're motivated and it's like, I'm going to do this, and you just go and do it. Like, and that's a gift, because most people, they think about, should I, shouldn't I? And it really is a gift for us. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. And I am equally honored to be in your presence. The things that you do, just the things you've done and accomplished in a time, they just blow my mind. You're a very impressive person.
Oh, thank you. It's it's challenging sometimes, but we get it done. Judy, that's really good. That's actually a good intro into Judy sharing what had happened last show, because the last show, Judy, I want you to share what were you dealing with the last show that really nothing gets in our way to keep pushing ahead? What were you dealing with last show?
Well, I had just had surgery on my foot, and I was in extreme pain and hadn't slept for a few days. Even though I was trying to sleep, I couldn't sleep. I was in too much pain. And I still wanted to get the show going and do everything I had to do. So when I look at the way I appeared on the show, I said, oh my God.
But nobody knew. Like, you weren't saying, oh, I'm sick, I can't do this. Like, this is what we have to do to keep moving forward with the foundation, because like Michele, yourself, life gets in the way.
Yeah.
Life gets in the way of what you should be doing. And that's what I love about my organization. Jim has the same thing. Jim has a spinal cord. I think is it spinal cord, Jim?
Yes.
Yes. It's a spinal cord injury that he had. And there's sometimes where he sits in that chair and he's in a lot of pain. So like, it's funny that you should mention that, because it's not only me, it's everybody, it's everything. But thank you so much, Michele, for recognizing that about us, because that's what I love about the organization. Jim, could you put up Diane's photo, because this show And the tricky tray would not be what it is without Diane. We need to start out with that. So is her photo up? Good. So you can just leave it up for a few seconds, Jim. But this is Diane Bromberg Stern. She is the president of, let me see, the senior, I want to make sure I get the name right, the president of Senior Resource Group of New Jersey. I cannot tell you what a gentle, passionate, people helping, like she just loves to help people. She loves to help people. And that really is the gift that she brings to the table. She helps all the people that are in her group. Jimmy, you could take it down. All the people that are in her group really to network and to really to help this senior population learn about what they need to survive, because it gets harder and harder. And with the senior population, things change on a dime. They change on a dime. And that really is one of the gifts that Diane has, is to help those that need help, and like a helping hand. So we're really honored and privileged to have met Diane. And you could put up the 2 tricky tray photos, Jim. So this is the tricky tray that we are doing. Are you putting up the first one, or one with all the photos that Michele and Diane have received? Do you have it, Jim? If you don't have it, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I sent Jim so many photos this morning that it
does it have words on it?
What's that?
Does it have words on the picture?
I don't know.
Okay.
Got sponsors, TD Bank.
Okay, I'm good.
Okay, so TD Bank. We just really want to show this photo so that we could tell people if they want to come to really purchase their tickets, because we're almost sold out. If if everything flows the way that we think it's going to flow. Is it up, Jim?
Yeah.
Okay. So I just want to wait for everybody to see that. I don't see. My shirt keeps falling down. I don't see it, Jim. That's okay, though. That's okay. So
We could put it up later.
Yeah, I could put it up later. I could slide it in, too.
Okay.
Don't worry. I can cut it and slide it in. So, but I really just wanted to make sure we got all that stuff out of the way of how we got to where we are and how we're gifted to have Michele as a guest on our show, and the importance of what Michele is doing with breaking bread, with bringing nutrients to people, with feeding people that they may not have families, they may be sick, their families may be away, there's a lot. So Michele, tell us first what you used to do, like, because I know this wasn't what you were doing initially.
No, it's not.
Hang on, Jim, that's my abuelitas. That's okay. Listen, we can get into that a little bit later. That's called Recipe for Life, a book I am creating. Yeah, that's good. Listen, everything happens for a reason, I believe. We'll get into that later on. That's why I am so connected to Michele, because we both have food in our blood. So Michele, tell us what you used to do before you got into the food industry.
Well, I've had a long history of non-food things. I was a sales manager for a telecommunications company for a very long time. Prior to going into the legal profession, I was the CFO of a law firm.
Wow.
And throughout my whole life, food has been the main focus. That was the one meal that I had every night with my family. Every Sunday was, from my Italian background, every Sunday was the family got together and we ate dinner. The holidays were all about, around the dining room table, everyone sits and enjoys the food. So I knew one day that food would be something I would do. And I do come from an amazing family of cooks.
You're Italian.
My grandmother, Angie, she was just amazing. And that's the cafe that I had.
Yes.
That was like my...
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I forgot that missing piece.
Yes.
Right? So you went from being in the legal field, in the management field,
yep.
as a
financial.
Yes. and then you purchased the cafe at the Wayne YMCA?
Correct.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So I was actually doing, I opened up my first meal prep company, February 17th of 2020. And we all know what happened March of 2020. So, I persevered through that, and I reinvented myself to doing prep in the cafe. And then I started doing prep and started delivering, and it kind of worked out better for me. The people were very receptive to what I was doing.
Wow.
So I also have to give a plug. During COVID, a woman from Wayne, her name is Randy London, she and I formed Feed It Forward, so that anyone who could not get to the food store, at that time nobody could, or could not get food or could not get meals, or if they were compromised, we actually formed that. And a group of amazing women from Wayne, as well as a few other towns, they all started helping us in the restaurants, and we started delivering food to people who couldn't get food into their homes.
But just think about it, Michele. Just think about the timeline, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you wouldn't have started in February, right? Like they were, in my world, God was setting you up. God was setting you up, preparing you for the work that he needed you to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Because in February you started it, and then in March we had the pandemic, and here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go. You have to, that to me, that brings goosebumps to my arms to think about,
God sent.
Yeah. So go ahead.
I believe he's watching over me. He has sent me some amazing people in my life. I've had some amazing clients who, they're so appreciative. And I appreciate all of them and being a part of their lives. And in this industry, unfortunately, as quick as they come, they go. So, I just appreciate the little bit of time that I have with them. So, the pandemic definitely changed who I was and where I was going and how I was doing it.
It changed a lot of people. It really brought some clarity. If it didn't, it was sad that it didn't bring you some clarity of the importance of time and what we're supposed to be doing on earth. And in the last line in my Stroke of Luck book, and I keep always going back to this: life is a gift. It's a gift, and we really shouldn't disrespect the gift that we have, because in one split second it could be ripped out of our lives, and then we'll be sad. So that's, it's always like live each day to the best that you can live. So,
I agree.
So you started this Chefs on the Go, New Jersey.
Yep.
And so I have a question though.
Sure.
What formal background training for food did you have? Like, did you have any? I didn't either. So,
you know what? I grew up with a whole slew of, my grandmother was just, and that's my motto is cooking with love and feeding with love and stuff like that, because that was my grandmother. Angie showed you how much she loved you by the food that she made, and she could take the worst food and make it just outstanding.
Right.
So, and my mother's the same way, as well as my aunt. So it kind of, I didn't need formal training.
You grew up with it.
I grew up with it. Exactly. So, and as time has gone on, I've honed in on my trait. I changed things, and I've learned how to make things, comfort foods that we love so much that are so unhealthy for us, and I've turned them into healthy foods.
Give us an example of one.
Well, I did a class not that long ago in Pequannock, and everyone wanted lemon chicken. So lemon chicken, if you make it the proper way, it's very fattening. You use 3 sticks of butter, lots of oil. It's really, it's quite fattening. So I taught them how to, change the type of butter that they're using. People have a tendency just to use, butter. or they try the margarine, which is really no good. So I switched it up. I showed them how to use plant-based butter, and how it tastes just like regular butter, and how to use chicken stock. Unsalted chicken stock is your best friend. You know, and just your choices, instead of using fats, using the chicken stocks, instead of frying foods, how you saute foods. You use
You can make it in the air fryer now too, which is
correct. And
cool.
I have my air fryer right on my countertop.
Yeah.
So even something like meatloaf. Meatloaf is, everyone loves meatloaf. It's a comfort food.
Yeah.
There are ways to do meatloaf and make meatloaf without having all the fat put in it, because the beef itself is fattening. So I try to teach the population about, you know, just changing some of your habits, and that it's not going to take away from the taste of the food.
Right. And you're an example of that. You can, you know, you make it and then you taste it and like, wow, you know, because they have those surveys. Okay, which one do you think it has it in? Is not made, and it's like, oh my God, I can't tell. You know, so that's incredible. Jim, can you put a photo up for Michele of her food? Jim, you got it. Can you put your speaker to your lips and tell us what photo you're showing?
Oh, that's a good idea, huh? So this one has broccoli and shrimp and pasta.
So tell us about that one. What's that called, Michele?
Okay, that's actually shrimp stir fry.
There's the photo of it. It's up on the screen now.
I'm trying to find it and look at it. But what I what I try to do, you know, when as our tastes evolve, most people like Asian food, but Asian food is very salty. It's not good for high blood pressure. It's not good for anything, really. So I teach people how to actually take the sodium and do the low sodium and things like that. But that, I make my own Asian sauce for that. And I use all fresh vegetables, and I use a different pasta. So there's different, when you choose your pastas, we all choose ronzoni or whatever it is. You pick it up off the shelf. If you read that pasta, it's not really good for you. There are many things that aren't good for you, especially if you're diabetic or if you have high blood pressure. So I teach them how to use gluten-free and how to use the chickpea-based pastas. So,
are they good for us, Michele? Because I do buy those, but I just wonder, because sometimes they say organic, and it's really not good for you.
It's not always good for you.
Yeah. So how do you tell like what's one of the things that you should read?
Well, any of the vegetable based pastas, they're made from vegetables. They're pressed vegetables. So listen, they don't hold up as well.
Yeah.
But you really, if you took a chickpea based pasta, you would never know that wasn't pasta. It's chickpeas. Who doesn't love chickpeas?
I don't. I mean, I do. I do.
Okay. So you would never know. And it has the same texture and it has the same coloring as regular pasta, but it's made with chickpeas. So, and it's also everything in moderation. Even if you choose the regular pasta, everything in moderation.
Right.
Which, if you see my meals, they're portioned correctly. It's portion control for you. You only get a half a cup of pasta in my meal. So I load it up with shrimp and the vegetables and the fresh herbs. I happen to have the herbs I grow them, a lot of them. So I use the fresh herbs and things like that. People don't even know, you know, when you're herbing it up, people don't even know the difference between that and junk food.
Yeah. Jim, show one that's in the black containers. I know we have two photos there that show her portion control and how she does both. Okay.
There's one coming up now. It's a whole bunch of meals in black containers.
Let me see. Can you look on your phone, Michele?
I'm looking.
It's got meatballs, I think. And chicken parm, maybe, and zucchini with yellow.
Yes, so that is. So the yellow, that is zucchini.
Squash.
Yes, it's zucchini squash. And right next to it is actually, it's sloppy joes, but it's healthy sloppy joes. So it's homemade sloppy joes made with turkey meat, fresh sautéed onions, and it's very popular. People don't even know that it's not sloppy joes. And then above that is one of my most popular dishes, and that's crab cakes. So crab cakes, homemade, lump crab meat, the homemade from scratch. And then all of my meatballs, which, as we know, I'm Italian, so meatballs.
Meatballs. How do you make the meatballs? Like, what is your basic? I mean, I always like to, and I know this is not healthy, but I always like to put Lipton onion soup in the meatballs to give it that. I know Michelle's like, oh my God, that's. But I don't make it for the elderly or people that's on a restricted diet. But that's my main flavor in and my grandmother and my aunt and my dad would only put grated cheese, onions, parsley.
Yeah, I use onions.
Parsley, yep, parsley.
Parsley and garlic.
Yep, salt, pepper, eggs.
No salt. I don't use salt.
That's what we always put in it. What's your special recipe in a meatball?
If I tell you, I'd have to kill you. No.
Okay. So, yeah. But see, no. Okay. No. So do you have a special recipe in your meatballs?
I do actually. I do the garlic. And I work with people with their diets, so not everyone can handle garlic. I do onion. If they can't handle the onion, you do the onion powder. If they can't handle garlic, you do the garlic powder. Fresh herbs are really key for me. It's fresh basil, fresh oregano. If I don't have it in my system, I have an aquaponic system. I buy it at the store, but I buy the fresh herbs. And learning
what's an aquaponic system?
My herbs and my tomatoes are actually grown in water. So I have those big lamps and water-based, and right now my basement is full of them. So I grow my tomatoes. I have tomatoes right now, heirloom tomatoes that are growing, and I grow all my herbs.
You know, Michele, I looked at your website, and I don't think I saw any of that information shared.
I'll have to do that.
You know what I'm saying? Because that makes you different. It makes your business or your food service unique in that you grow your own herbs and tomatoes to really bring more flavor.
They definitely have more flavor when you do it yourself.
Yeah, but
absolutely.
But the fact that I'd love to do a show with you where we do it from that setting you have.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Because that shows people. It's not just I go in and I make the food and there's a whole process to preparing good food for the people that I service. So,
absolutely.
Renee.
Yes.
Let's not forget about your cafe.
Oh, yeah. I love to service people. It doesn't matter in what.
But your early background.
Yeah, well, my dad used to own 2 delis, the Boulevard Sweet Shop in Elmwood Park. That's why I'm so connected to Elmwood Park. And then he sold that and he built Riverview Liquor and Deli right across from Subbase. I don't know if you know this, but in Elmwood Park, there used to be a Subbase on River Drive. And it really, when you said Subbase, everybody knew. So it was right across from Subbase. And I managed the deli end of it. And, I cooked, and my grandmother, Abuelita, also came to help us eventually. And she only spoke Spanish, and eventually she learned how to speak English from being there and servicing people. And then when my dad sold his deli, we bought T&A, Testa Adams International Delights in Hawthorne, across from the movie theater. It used to be Frank's. And
perfect location.
Yeah. And Jim, can you put up one of those photos that you had put up which says Recipe for Life? I'm actually working on it. You should work on a book, Michele. I'm working on a book, Recipe for Life, I really want to incorporate everything that I do into one book and really spread the love through music, through through cooking. It says recipes made with love, right, Michele? We're on the same page. Nutrients to our bodies, minds, and souls. Yeah, and that's my grandmother, abuelita's gana con papas. Gana con papas is meat and potatoes, and she makes it in with green olives, and there's sazon in it, and she makes it with tomato sauce, not with brown gravy, and it really is really good. It's really good, and there's potatoes in there, there's carrots in there, there's onions in there, and it's really good. Do you have another one, Jim? One more that we could show, and then we'll show another one of Michelle's. Do you have the potato and egg one, the cover one? This is my father's, my grandmother, my father. This is one of our specialties, potato and egg. We used to make it on Friday in our deli.
Yep.
And we used to make pots. We had lines out the door waiting for it to come off of the stove. And, you know, it was, you have it, Jim? What's that? No, I can't hear you. That's okay. Oh no, this is if you look at your phone, Michele, this is a stuffed chicken that I make. That I always made for caterings and always made for this was another specialty of ours, that it should take a chicken cutlet and you roll stovetop stuffing. That's what I use because the flavor.
So easy.
And it really, I mean, there's nothing like that flavor of stovetop stuffing. And you roll it and then you bread it. You roll it, bread it, put sesame seeds on it, and bake it. And then you take it and you put it in the refrigerator for the next day to get it nice and cold.
Yep.
And then you slice it up and you put it in Heinz chicken gravy, just to make it simple. And then you throw in the oven, you bake it a little bit. It
looks delicious.
It's a good
I'll be right over to have some.
It really is a good item. Jim, you want to say something? I know you have the phone. I can't hear you.
I just put another one up.
Oh, you put another one up. This is one more, then we'll go back to Michele. This is Grammy's macaroni and cheese. Grammy is my children's father's mother, and every holiday she made macaroni and cheese. And she would really make it with the Velveeta cheese, like not healthy, Michele. Velveeta cheese, the heavy cream, the butter. But what made hers different was she would make a topping with a lot of butter and breadcrumbs.
Yep.
And salt, and kind of brown them together and then put it on top and then put it in the oven. So that's the crumbles you see.
That also looks insanely fattening, but so delicious.
It's good. I mean, that was like, and all you need to make was macaroni and cheese. Like that was a Thanksgiving staple. Yep. We had to have macaroni and cheese on Thanksgiving. Had to have macaroni and cheese. What other ones do you have in Michelle's, Jim? My shirt keeps falling down. Sorry.
Looks good.
Yeah. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me.
It's fine.
Which one is up, Jim? You got to talk into which one is up.
I can't see
this
anything.
Is spaghetti.
You're making me very hungry.
That's actually linguine and clam sauce.
I haven't eaten that in years.
Yes. I'll tell you a funny quick story. My daughter, that was her favorite meal, and she's going to kill me, Nicole. Growing up, that was her favorite meal, but she thought it was chicken.
Oh.
And she was a teenager, and she saw me make it one day, and she saw the clams, and she said, "That's not chicken. What are you making?" I said, "I'm making linguine and clam sauce. This has been your favorite meal since you were a kid." She said, "Clams?" She's never eaten it since. She's like,
that's how the mind works, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
But that's I take the clam, I buy the jarred clam stock, but then I flavor it. I'll do the clams, I'll buy fresh clams. This actually was fresh clams, and it was during the summer, so they were very large, beautiful clams. And instead of making it all with the stocks and the butter, I use my staple and chicken stock. I use sodium-free chicken stock, and I flavor it with a ton of garlic. because that really is the bite behind linguine and clam sauce. And I use only fresh garlic. So
go ahead.
Now I chop it up real fine, and that's as you're chewing on the clams and the pasta, you're also chewing on garlic, which is just amazing.
Do you do research? Because I know Dr. Mike Evangel, who is on our show a lot. He was a correspondent for us. And he will tell you like how wonderful garlic is for your health. Garlic is, I think, what did they say? Like it brings your blood pressure down.
Yes.
A lot of garlic.
Yes.
So my question is, do you research that? Do you bring any of that into it? Like this is an extra, garlicky item, which will help your blood pressure. I'm just curious. I know you probably can't do that legally but maybe there's a way that you can just share that with people,
I do. A lot of my clients will call me up and they don't know what's good for them. And they'll ask me, Michele, I have diabetes, but I love, pasta and things like that. So I design it to them and for them so that they still have the things that they love, because the minute we deprive ourselves,
yes.
We desire it, we want it, we need it. So if you keep some of the staples that you love in your diet, but in moderation, people they'll not desire it as much.
Yeah.
So I do, when somebody calls me up and says I'm diabetic, I will show them how to take the sugars out of their diet. I will take pasta and go with the gluten-free pasta. I do have clients who are on celiac. They have a celiac diet, so I have to take all the gluten out of their diet. Or they'll have high blood pressure. And that's probably, out of all of my clients, that's probably the biggest hurdle is, especially, no offense, Jim, especially for the male. The male will, a man will tend to, the minute you put and my husband's one of them, the minute you put the food down, instead of tasting it first, they'll salt it. So we all know what salt does to our body. So I try to teach them, and I let everyone know that there's not an ounce of salt in any of my food.
Wow.
No matter how old you are, good habits start when you're young. So not flavoring everything with salt and flavoring it with herbs does better for you.
So you're saying that if you use a lot of garlic, you could lower your blood pressure?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
No wonder I've got low blood pressure.
I do too. Yes, garlic is amazing for so many health reasons. One of them being blood pressure. If you do have migraines, you can actually use garlic. Garlic actually will soothe your migraines because the flow isn't as constricted. Yeah, so garlic has a lot of medicinal purposes.
I've been using garlic in just about everything I cook.
Yeah.
And I have such low blood pressure that even my husband is jealous of my blood pressure. And he goes, "Are you really here?"
Well, you have to be careful, because that can be, as we progress in our age, the lower blood pressure can be an enemy to you. So you have to make sure that you keep it at a healthy level. I suffer from severely low blood pressure myself.
How low is it?
We're 90/65. That's probably my average blood pressure. I mean, the doctor will say it's not bad, but as I get a little bit older,
mine's like 110/60 or 120/70, in that range.
Yeah, I'm as I said, it will be a problem for me when I get older. Once you hit 50, everything falls apart anyway. So we just counteract some of that, So I'm going on the other end of that number. So, as you get older, every year is a new challenge. And people have to realize that every year is a new challenge, and you have to feed yourself for those challenges.
Yeah. And you probably have to revisit all the time.
I do.
And I wanted to share this before I forget, because I always forget because we get talk about something else. But, another thing that you shared was the conversations that you spend time with each client, which, is a part of the budget operations. So, people may look, I don't know what your prices are. I have not looked. I'm just looking at an operation business. that, you know, sometimes your time is valuable, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to do this full time, you know. So that is another piece into the operation of it that you have to account for when you are coming up with your charges. It really is not the food. The food is
It's one aspect of it.
Yeah, the food is the end result of the growing the herbs and the conversations and the care and the revisiting and the education that you need to make sure you're aware of and staying certified. So I just want to, because I as much as I'm an entertainer and I also am the back end, the businesswoman, that you have to make sure that you get what you pay for in life. You know, and that's, but maybe I'm just thinking out of the box. Is there a way that if somebody can't afford and they need what you're bringing, is there a way to get the government involved, or a sponsor, or, you know, is there something like that, Michele? I'm just asking out of the cuff.
Yep.
So
well, they do have different programs, but a lot of long-term care insurance for the senior end does cover meal preparation.
Good.
Yes. But and I highly recommend that people do that when they're younger, to have something, you know, to pre-plan it for when you're older. But I work out many plans because it is my own thing. I work to make sure that if anyone approaches me and says to me, you know what, I really just can't afford it, I make it so that they can afford it. I don't ever want to turn anyone down. If I have extra food left over at the end of the week, I give to the veterans. You know, I want anyone who needs a meal. Everyone has the right to eat, and shouldn't be, you know, money shouldn't be an issue. So if they come to me and say, Michele, I can't afford it, well, what can you afford? Let's turn this around. Let's figure out what we can do so you get food. So,
I'm just trying to think. So like a Meals on Wheels, because my father used to work from Meals on Wheels.
Yep.
I know that they bring food to the elderly who need it. Can you, is your business able to tap into that area? Like if somebody that gets Meals on Wheels decides, oh, I want to get Michele's food rather than Meals on Wheels, can that happen?
Yes, I can't get subsidy from the government. A lot of the Meals on Wheels are localized, like it's Passaic County has Passaic County Meals on Wheels.
Right.
And they have referred clients to me who don't qualify for Meals on Wheels. Meals on Wheels is a sliding scale, but there's a max how much money you can make to get it. So they have referred clients to me. But if I could, I would definitely figure out a way to do that. Get involved with having someone subsidize.
Yeah, I mean, I think because once again, in my world, like the stroke and aphasia world, and this is our biggest battle, is money shouldn't be the determining factor of healthcare.
Yep.
Same thing with eating. Money shouldn't be the determining factor of eating. So we have to have a conversation, Michele, about putting those two things together and going to Washington, D.C., because I don't think small. I think let's help the country. And I actually wrote a letter to the President of the United States, Joe Biden, only because, and this is not political, this is just because his son suffered a stroke. I thought it was someone that I could reach out to that had power in helping me, our organization, which you're a part of, become the ambassadors for stroke and aphasia. Judy?
Renee, didn't you go to Washington, D.C. about 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us about that?
It was incredible to walk those halls and to feel the power, and that's where change is made. That's where your voices can be heard. And I went with the American Stroke Association. And
What year was that?
I don't really remember.
It's about 4 or 5 years ago, I think.
Yeah, but in our world, we want to make sure that we're helping people.
Yeah.
And I know Michele, so I would love to have a conversation with you about helping you and helping me. Make money not the determining factor to eating or getting medical help. Like to me, it's like, let's help them first, let's feed them first, and figure out like afterwards how we can make them pay. But I don't think that it's something that it's one of our passions, and that's why we're doing this tricky tray, because all the money that we get, we could finally say, okay, we'll take a deep breath, because we've been able to, we have 3 mission statements. Stroke and aphasia awareness, doing an annual telethon, and the third is to help those that their insurances run out. Well, if we don't have it, we can't help people. So this fundraiser will really set us in motion to say, okay, we wanted to start a committee, and figure out, okay, how do we do this overall? How do we help those that their insurances run out? Like, yes, we have helped little people with a couple $100 here and there, but we want to come up with an overall game plan. And one of them was, Judy had a guest on one of our shows. I forget what her name is, but she worked at a college, and the students in the colleges needed, what do you call it when they go as, when you use somebody for a trial,
Clinical trial?
What's that?
Clinical trials?
Yeah, there wasn't a clinical trial. It was, they were just using them as their patients, and we're talking about physical therapy. We're not talking about anything else. So the physical therapy, you'd go into the school and it cost you like $20 to go to.
I remember that. Her name isn't coming to me, but I just looked at her a couple of weeks ago. I was looking at her paperwork.
But my point is that if that can happen in one specific college, why don't we get that around the country? Why don't we get that type of standards for people that, I can afford $20. I can't afford $150 per session, but $20 a session I can afford. So we want to take that sample, and we spoke to her about this, that she'd be willing to help us, that we want to take that sample and make it work through the states and the government to make it a part of what one of our organizations thing that we're working on. So that's my goal and objective. So, but anyway, that's I think would love to work with you on it.
Thank you. I would love to do it.
Yeah. So we only have a few minutes left, and Jim, show us one more photo, and then we're gonna have Michele. Michele, can you take it? We only have a few minutes left.
Yes.
It just flies. But we're gonna let you share like where they can get in touch with you, who you service, if they have any questions, et cetera, where they can reach out to. Jen, what photo are you putting up?
It looks like a
I'm looking.
Oh, this is good. This
Oh,
it looks delicious.
Oh, that's stew.
I love stew.
Me too. I love, I make lamb stew. That's what I
love lamb stew.
Yeah, I made a lot of lamb stew these last couple of weeks. But this happens to be beef stew. And as you can see, it's all full of vegetables. I make my own stock. And I use only the best beef, which right now is a little tough because the prices are insane. But yeah, that's my beef stew, and that's a really popular.
My mom used to make beef stew, and after she passed, my dad carried it on and made sure that we had it.
And those are memories. Food. I can to this day, if I taste a meatball that even is remotely close to my grandmother's, it's like I'm transformed back into my grandmother's kitchen. I just can, every time I put the meatballs up, I fry them on Sunday. I'll put the meatballs on my counter. If someone takes a meatball, which my grandmother used to do when we get hit with the wooden spoon, if someone took a meatball, I just get, it's funny, I got goosebumps. I feel like I'm Angie, and I feel like I'm back when I was a kid. It's just,
I used to take notes. I used to watch my mother cook, and I had a
Hang on one
notebook,
second,
and I used
Judy.
to write down all her recipes.
Can you
And
take it down,
sometimes she
Jim?
would say a little of this and a little of that,
yeah.
and I had to experiment.
So, Michele, tell us, like, let's go back full circle to like the beginning of, where they could reach out to you, where you service, do your elevator speech, because I really think what you're doing is really, really important, and people don't know. That's why we wanted to have you on the show, to let people know the added care that they're not only getting the food, they're getting someone who really cares about the person, the individual, one-on-one. So give us a little bit about that.
Okay. Well, Chefs on the Go N.J. My website is www.chefs, plural, on the go, nj.com. My office number is 973-706-8548. Get that out of the way. What I believe sets me, makes me so much different than everyone else is me, and taking the time to spend with people, and talking to them. I'm the second eyes and ears. So if I'm with a client, and I do also with the special needs. So if I'm with a client and someone isn't there with them, I'm there. I talk to a lot of the children when it comes to the seniors. I talk to a lot of the parents when it comes to adults with special needs. So it's a little bit of me. Like I'll never walk away from anyone. I will sit down and have a cup of tea if that's what I need to do, and just spend some time with them, because people want that. They want to connect. And COVID did make a big difference. A lot of people are more alone. So I'm there, and I'm going to sit down and talk to them. And I do develop meal plans based on their health needs, as well as trying to change them. I have a lot of people. I just started a new points menu that seems to be getting, gaining momentum, so that people know that, I'm on the other end also. I want to be in everyone's home. I want everyone to taste my meals. I want everyone to taste my herbs that I grow. I want everyone to know that if they can't afford me, they've got me. I do have a place in my heart. My heart's quite large. I do have a place in my heart for everyone. So, if you want meals and you want me to come and spend time with you, I'd love to. So
and that's what makes you unique. That's what makes you special. That's what makes you, important, in a part of the universe, because you're one-on-one it really takes. And I remember, I will never forget my father. Like I said, he worked for Meals on Wheels after, he worked we owned delis and stuff. And I worked for the Wanacue Reserve in Wanacue, New Jersey.
Yep.
He used to deliver to a woman there, and she waited every day for him. Because that was someone that came to her door. And and my father would go in, he'd sit down, he'd talk to her. And the same thing that you're saying, that is so unique right now. It's unique right now because people, we're forgetting how to connect one-on-one with people. Yeah. And it really is important what you're doing. So bravo to you for what you're doing. And you're a part of our family. So anything that we can do, we'd love to. Judy, if it's okay with you, Michele, Judy can book you again. We'll do it right out of your garden, wherever you have.
Yeah,
I think
you can do that.
Really very interesting.
I think that'll be great.
I think it'd be very interesting to show people, and
I do a lot of cooking demos also.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. We'll do a cooking demo as well.
Yep.
So that we could show people the inside of what goes on. It's not you just cook it and you send it out. It's really a whole process for you. So that's
good. I do appreciate you having me on. I'm really looking forward to April 18th. I think it's going to be so exciting. I think that the cause is just wonderful. And I just think that, I think if we all work together, we can make magic happen. So, you know,
and that's what it takes. It takes together. I mean, we could not be where we are if it wasn't for everybody who played, whether it's a minor part or a major part, or like Judy, you know, this Stroke of Luck TV is her baby. You know, she takes care of that. The other is the Tricky Tray, which Diana and yourself, you know, and I got to give props to Susan.
Yes.
Shirley and Yanel, right?
Yep.
They're the three other go-getters that in this that are you know, really putting it together. And like I said initially, we're going to do a whole follow-up show, and we're going to see if we can get Diana to sit next to me.
Good luck with that one.
I'll have to talk to her myself.
Yeah, but we'll see if we can get her, you know, because it just, to me, you know, the like I said before, the Tricky Tray is like the pinnacle of what we're doing, but it doesn't stop there. It's like, okay, what can we take from there? And I believe that, you know, it's very important to give gratitude, to stop, take a moment, give gratitude to all the players, all the sponsors, all the people on the back end that did so much, the Cosmopolitan, which has been a supporter of mine since the very beginning. So we're really blessed to have connected and worked together. So it is together. You got to work together.
That's right.
So thank you so much, Michele. Thank you, as always, Judy. Thank you, Jim. We always blow kisses on 3, and we want to thank everybody for joining us today. We're so blessed, and have a wonderful day, and enjoy the moments, and life is a gift. And go break some bread today with your families. So on 3, we always blow kisses. 1, 2, 3. Bye, everybody.
Take care.
God bless you all.
Estoy perdiendo, yo no sé lo que va a pasar, no me puedes escuchar, llorar solo sin ti, no me puedes oír llorar. El día que caminaste por la puerta, todas las memorias fueron. No me puedes oír.